I am Raina with Raina Michelle Realty at Keller Williams Raleigh, residential and commercial. Thank you so much to everyone who's watching live. I appreciate you tuning in, and thank you so much to everyone who is watching the recording. I'll be here each week on Thursdays at 11, so please join in and watch our real estate tips. I will be talking all things real estate over the next few weeks, and I'll also be discussing home ownership. So, for people who are not necessarily planning to buy or sell right now, but are still interested in knowing what's going on in the market and knowing how to care for and maximize your investment, we will be discussing homeownership in our realm of all things real estate. So please join us on Thursdays at 11 for all of our real estate tips. And today I'm going to start just by telling you a little bit about myself, how I got into real estate, and how I ended up in North Carolina. Um, so when I was a kid, I went to get my hair cut, and we always went to the place right down the street that was owned by my friend's mom. And they had taken their first starter home and they upsized to a larger home down the street and kept that initial home as a rental investment property. And they turned that garage, converted it into a beauty salon. And I just always thought that it was so exciting that they had their rental property, that they owned their own business. And I thought, man, that's something I want to do. So when I came home from getting my hair cut at, like 10 years old, I'm like, Mom, I want to own my own business someday. So from then on, I've always dreamed of being a business owner. But why real estate? Why real estate specifically? Well, again, when I was a kid, I went with my family and we toured the mansion at Sonnenberg Gardens in Rochester. And I just absolutely fell in love with the place. The 19th century Victorian architecture, I just loved, all the details, the trim, the craftsmanship. I just loved everything about it. And so I've been into homes ever since. Um, my parents did teach me about the importance of budgeting and living within your means and the importance of having a good credit score. And so, having that knowledge, I knew I wanted to be a homeowner as soon as possible. And so, I worked full time in college to save up for that down payment. And when I graduated from school, I bought my house. It was a very exciting moment. Um, and I worked in commercial real estate in Rochester with a company who buys and sells large apartment complexes. I absolutely loved that field. It was a really exciting opportunity for me. But I also knew that I didn't want to stay in New York. I do love New York. It's a beautiful, beautiful state. The Finger Lakes, the Adirondack Mountains, wine country, apple country, a lot of country in New York. New York City, visiting there is fantastic too. But I was so sick of freezing. It's so cold there for a long, a large portion of the year. And I knew that I wanted to make my permanent spot somewhere that I would find more enjoyable and be warmer. Also, wanting to be involved in investing, I knew I wanted to be in a state with lower property taxes. And so I decided it was time for me to leave New York. But where to go? I didn't know where I wanted to go. I had really only been in New York. And so I decided to explore. I knew that I needed to do some research and figure out where it was that I wanted to go to. So I'm going to share with you a slideshow from my road trip. and let you guys just see a couple of quick pictures from that trip. Um, so yeah, I decided I needed to explore, and so I turned my house into a duplex. I learned a lot about construction. Thank you, Dad. Um, and that way, everything would be taken care of while I was gone. And I still had half a house to come back to if I decided to come back. And the road trip was open. It was completely unplanned. I didn't know how long I would be gone. I didn't know where I was going to go, or if I was going to come back. I even brought work clothes with me just in case an opportunity presented itself that I couldn't refuse. So I was just open to anything, going anywhere, opportunities, just completely open. And I started traveling down the East Coast. I stayed with a few relatives, stayed on a couple relatives' couches, and came down the East Coast to North Carolina and loved it here and decided to go explore out west. So I went to Little Rock and Colorado and a lot of places out west. I realized how close I was to Yellowstone when I was in Colorado, and so I spent some time in Yellowstone camping. Most of my trip, I was living in my tent in national parks, and it was just fantastic to wake up every morning and be able to go out and explore and just have my whole day open to whatever adventures came my way. It was a very empowering experience as well. Knowing that you're all the way across the country with really nothing with you besides a tent, it's very empowering to know that no matter what obstacles come your way, you're gonna figure it out because that's your only option is to figure it out. And so knowing, without a doubt that every problem has a solution, definitely put a different perspective of the world for me. So it was just an amazing, empowering best 3 months of my life. It was fantastic, and we're so thankful. I'm so thankful that we have our national parks preserved and available for all of us to go out and enjoy. Um, so I could talk about my road trip story all day. Feel free to leave some comments or ask some questions in the chat box or hit me up on Messenger. But ultimately, how I decided on North Carolina, I loved Colorado, I loved California, but they also are not the best states for investing in. And North Carolina is close enough for me to be able to drive back to New York in 12 hours and see my family. So I'm very close with my family. We get together over the summer, and then for Thanksgiving and Christmas, we have about 30, 35 of us that meet for, dinner and spend a whole day together. And it's really important to me to be able to be close enough to still go back and see them regularly. And so North Carolina was it. And I couldn't be happier with my decision. I've been here for 3, 4 years now, and it's a fantastic place to live and to work and to play. We have an amazing state park system here in North Carolina, and also our nature trails, all of our walking trails, our greenway. We are very fortunate to have such a great park system in this state, especially with the way things are going in the world right now. Being outside and being in nature is, for a lot of us, the only way that we can safely and distantly still, get together at a safe distance. And so, just very thankful that I'm here in a place that does support all of our parks and systems. So happy to be here in North Carolina and happy to be here in real estate. So feel free to leave some comments, ask some questions, hit me up on Messenger. I'll be here again next week, Thursdays at 11, and we'll be talking all things real estate. If you do know anyone who's interested in buying or selling a home or a business, definitely give me a call, send me their information. I'll be happy to reach out and get the process started for them. And I want to thank everyone so much for joining me today. And we look forward to seeing you again next week, Thursday at 11. And we'll see you next week. I'm Raina Michelle with Raina Michelle Realty. Transform your future. Thanks for joining us.